Greetings. This is Peggy Miller, Highland Winds LLC. I'm the medical herbalist that's been doing an overview, as well as I'll be moving into segments as this podcast series. MCAT is helping me with this, helping me record, and it's been great. I'm learning to do this. So this is the part 8, which I'm attempting to do a wrap-up. In this overview, and there was an intro which went into a number of my background, my bio, my qualifications for doing this podcast, talking about Chinese and Ayurvedic herbalism. But what I've attempted to do in the overview is touch on the individual items that then I'll go into more thoroughly, but to give a sense to those particularly new to Chinese and Ayurvedic herbalism as to different questions they might have, why even take a look at this as a health approach. And so the overview was to give a beginner a sense of that, and then the individual segments will be to carry that person as well as those that are intermediate. Advanced, I don't see. You might pick up something. I'm sure, I'm happy to have you review, and if you ever want to give me comments at highlandwinds@gmail.com, please do. This will be airing on MCAT. Probably will be looking into a once a week type of approach, or maybe that hasn't been figured out, but we will be airing it on MCAT, and I'll also probably be putting it on YouTube. And I'll look for other places, other radio coverage that might be interested, because I think it's important as people get into trying to broaden their own health knowledge. I really feel that medical herbalism is key to that. It's a way of viewing the physical and emotional system and ways to help it through diet, exercise, and herbs that are critical. And so I encourage everyone to really read on it and to get into it far more thoroughly. In this final stage today, part 8, I just want to go back a bit. Last time I was talking about moisture and also referred back to qi and blood, because qi, blood, and moisture are critical parts of an overall balanced physical system. Without qi, blood, and moisture, your system starts to really falter. If your energy is too low, if your blood isn't nourished enough, if the fluids in your body aren't strong enough, and that can be saliva, sweat. If you're not ever sweating, this is not good. If your urine is too high or too low, if you have too many tears or none, these are all indicators. The lymph glands are even a part of the system of moisture. And so these are all critical elements. I also touched on essence and shen, because they're not subsets of qi, blood, and fluid. They actually stand very much on their own, but they're very related to qi, blood, and fluids, as well as to yang and yin. I touched on how essence is vitality, which is a lot like energy, but it's a different part. It's sort of like energy and yin and yang all rolled into one. And shen, which is it's the spirit of a person. And it is housed in the heart, and it is what gives a person spirit is different than essence. Spirit is what also creates a sense of a loving person, a compassion, and those elements are looked on as key to physical health. If a person has no spirit, no compassion, no loving, no, they're sort of dead that way, that will be noted simply as a symptom that needs to be addressed through both herbs and through attention and through listening and through helping. And so these are all components. And in the beginning, I went into yin and yang. When I started all of this, I went into how yin and yang, as well as the tridosha, are what is the elements that we need to balance. That yin is the moisture side, that it's the nurturing side, that it's considered the receiving side, the dark side, whereas yang is the warmth that is admitted and is keeps yin from getting too strong, because you need yang, warmth, pitta, as in tridosha, the pitta, the warmth. You need that in order to keep yin from being too strong. A person that has lots of colds, way too much urine, just is large-bodied, overly large. That is a sign of yin excess, too much yin. And usually that's indicative of not enough yang. And yang often needs to be increased while you clear up some of the dampness related to having too much yin. So herbally you would address both sides of it to try to bring the body back into balance. Also within tridosha, if you're too vata, which is the ether, the air, an airy person who is absolutely ungrounded, it needs to have, because they will start to have problems with their organs, their heart. All of those elements need grounding, and increasing their kapha side, which is, from a Chinese perspective, sort of pretty much related to kapha, yin. Yin and kapha are fairly similar. So you'd increase the kapha, but you'd also increase the pitta some, because those two can help to keep the vata, keep the person more grounded, more in the everyday world. Being mindful is become a term that we use a great deal these days, but it's a useful term, because being mindful, that people are often not very mindful. They're not in the present. They're up in the clouds. And they can be extremely artistic people, very creative, but often unable, if they're too vata, unable to bring their creativity side down to reality and get their works out there and get listened to. That's the grounded side. So somebody that's too vata, they often are intriguing people. They're very ethereal. They almost seem to float. If you're too vata, it can really get in the way of what you do with your life. Just like if you're too pitta or too yang, it builds to the point there's so much heat you have possibly too much anger, consistently too much anger, so you're not able to calm down and kind of see other sides to an argument, to be able to listen to people, just like with it. And so that's being too pitta or too yang. And if you're kapha or too yin, you'll be very nurturing. So nurturing that you have a trouble, like let's say you're a parent and you're nurturing a child, but sometimes the child needs to be told no. If someone's too kapha, they have a hard time with that. There's a balance in everything. And so keeping a balance within your physical system also then helps you with your everyday decisions. And so it's not just that you want to get rid of fatigue because you just don't like feeling tired, of course, and more energy means you'll do more. But it also, when you pinpoint where the fatigue's coming from, let's say there's a lot of stagnation going on in the liver, and you clear that up, and then you all of a sudden find that you not only have more energy, but you're also able to make decisions, and you've, let's say, been putting off those decisions. Well, as you clear the liver, you clear the gallbladder, usually. And the gallbladder relates to decision-making capabilities. When there's too much stagnation in the liver and the gallbladder, then it's very difficult to move forward with things, to make decisions, to have willpower. And so I guess what I'm trying to say in a summary way is that this balance of yin and yang and the tridosha, of the blood and energy and moisture, it not only keeps everything ticking inside, keeps you walking, keeps you breathing, but your ability to make decisions and go about life's jobs is simpler, is easier. And so balance really is important for all of those reasons. It can also include an ability to calm rather than feel too much anger, or be able to, if you get depressed about something, because we all do, things happen, to be able to move out of that depression. And return, to accept certain situations, deal with them, figure out new courses of action, and move forward. And so this physical balancing of medical herbalism is key to all of those elements, to keeping the heart ticking and the lungs breathing.